All right, what's going on, y'all? What is going on? We got another conversation for the trip. Right now, I'm still been crazy busy, and I had to put my studio back together. I had to take some parts, remove some things, and rearrange my little studio space. So that's why you haven't seen any live videos. Like, I really just haven't had time to sit down and do it. But busy is also a good thing. So wanted to chime in real quick though, talking about the and I'll say it's because it's not really about Shedeur Sanders, but it's more so about the Sanders legacy as a whole. And so I wanted to chime in on this now that everybody is actually seeing. See, your lies about Shedeur Sanders will only last a few weeks. That's why I don't really understand why it was important for them to do. Try to make it seem like he was. Let me fix this. Try to make it seem like he was some kind of troublemaker when he wasn't. The kids are very exceptionally good kids from all appearances. Nice and respectful. Shake hands and talk to everybody. Nobody feels like they're jerks. They're kind. This is things that other people say about these guys, man. And so when you think about that, why are we having a tag of arrogance on a kid who's not arrogant? On kids who aren't arrogant. And speaking of arrogance, I wanted to just do something the other day before I really gave my opinion on this. And I wanted to just sit down and watch some old primetime highlights. And I went back to his rookie season. There's nobody doing what he was doing then today. Travis Hunter is probably the closest. And look who his tutelage was. So I think the only way they could get at Shedeur or get at Deion was really through Shedeur and Shiloh, because at the end of the day, you can't front on Travis Hunter. There's no question about that kid. Like, that kid is the next coming since Deion Sanders. And I don't think a lot of y'all understand. We always say Deion Sanders is the greatest DB in football. Y'all realize he went to San Francisco for 1 year. He played in San Francisco on defense for 1 year. Jerry Jones threw a Disney-sized bag of cash at Deion Sanders and told everybody on the team that this is what he's asking for. And the rest of the team co-signed it and said, hey, we don't make what he's making, but give it to that guy. Give him the money. Why? Because we just need that guy on our team. Because he changes the entire culture of the team. Family. Deion Sanders went to San Francisco. They was like, man, we can win. Super Bowl. Very next year after that Super Bowl win, Deion Sanders goes to Cowboys. What happens? Don't they run it back to back? Is Deion Sanders not one of the greatest? Look at all of his college proteges who are with him now. Warren Sapp. And all them Florida boys. Now, luckily, we lucked out of here in Oregon. We got Chad. We got Ocho Cinco. But he a Florida boy. Like, granted, he came to here, and I believe he's in our Hall of Fame here. Ocho Cinco. And he went to Corvallis. He didn't even go to the Ducks. He went to Corvallis and tore their ass up. And so made such a name for himself out of that Florida system. Family, I'm telling you. These guys, Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, none of the guys coming out of that system out down there are slouches by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, they're the exact opposite. They're exceptional talents. And so I looked at him like, man, this dude is doing things in these games. He went to Dallas, got that money, and he played both sides of the ball. He played wide receiver, and he played cornerback. This man also played in the World Series for the Atlanta Braves, and then had to also play for Monday Night Football for the Falcons. There's not a lot of people walking the face of the earth that can do that. It's no shame to give that man credit. And then when his sons begin to show that they are talented, and yet to be proven on his elite level, but nonetheless, coming through on such a professional scale and level that people had to take notice. He got 2 sons in the NFL right now. And they're making an impression. Why did you go in the first place? They're making such an impression that people are now having to garner press about it. But let's be clear. It was the Deion Sanders hate and the Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh Sanders hatred that garners the media coverage. So what now ends up happening is that now they're upset that Shedeur is getting all of this positive press because of the league's and the owner's negative take on Shedeur Sanders. And now that he has proven himself, none of that is true. Here's another element that I want to share with y'all. Who's the face of NFL right now? What's the big name that you know? Who's the guy that has replaced Tom Brady? That guy's name is Patrick Mahomes Jr. Take note that he is a junior. You never really see the fact that his father, and they've downplayed his father, and his father got a bunch of DUIs. Here's the truth about Patrick Mahomes Sr. He is a former professional athlete himself. He played Major League Baseball, the other sport that actually was the main sport of his son, Patrick Mahomes. See, the influence of the father there gets diminished because of his DUIs. Like, he didn't raise this boy. He didn't raise this NFL back-to-back champion who is so scary that nobody wants to meet him on the field. That's his son. He raised that boy. The inward tenacity. And, these are things that black fathers experience. I know I have myself. Because, with my own children's accomplishment, namely my oldest, because my youngest one's accomplishments, the people who would do that, they actually have to be informed about it now because they don't know. But with my oldest, he was in the second percentile of mathematics for the country. And so he got, signed up. Man, all kind of people was trying to come get us into these goddamn weird programs and whatnot. I'm really not into that. And my family is one that I have always tried to stay away from these certain organizations or whatnot. But, if it would prove beneficial for him, I've raised both my boys to know what's what. They know what time it is. They know who their family is. They know where we come from. They know who we are. So it's funny now, like certain people, what's your lineage? This is just like a new conversation for a lot of these people. What's your lineage? What's your lineage? It was just important to you yesterday. Calm down. Anyways, I have to get off on that tangent. But back to Patrick Mahomes Sr. The way they tried to diminish his raising of his son. He doesn't have to be a perfect man. He just has to be a good dad. And him being a good dad to Patrick Mahomes is not subject for ridicule by outside people. Because at the end of the day, you could see the product of his child. That is the product of his loins. And so this is my point about Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is a Hall of Famer in the NFL. Deion Sanders is his high. There's no one in playing or has played since that can top his highlights. So this is what I'm saying. When you got Prime, you can't get around his shadow of the NFL at all. There is no walking around that. But what they can do is with Patrick Mahomes Sr., they can diminish him because he's not part of the NFL. He's not part of that makeup, so no one knows his history like that. So diminishing him, you never really hear about Patrick Mahomes Sr. You just hear about his racially acceptable son, because people look at him and they don't see a black man. They see, now granted, of course, some people do, but what I mean is he is on that lane of what is he? You know what I mean? It's like, man, he's just Negro. But they don't see his father, so they don't play Patrick Mahomes Sr. up in his job raising Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP quarterback. No, they don't even talk about that. They just simply focus on him, and that's how I know what it is. Because see, when it was my son, he's a self-motivator. So not that my raising my child was the deal. No, it wasn't that. But instead, it was that my child's a self-motivator, and obviously not me or his mother had anything to do with where his headspace was in academia. This is the time, so I've experienced that. I've experienced that myself. Because, again, giving black folks credit, especially when it comes down to academics. This isn't what I think it's supposed to be. And so now with Shador and what can you say? Oh, well, they're arrogant and they're this and they have an attitude. People tried to say that about me. And you know why I had an attitude? Is because I stand up for the truth and I stand up for principles. And we have a lot of staunch coons out here that are so go along, get along, that anytime a black person defends themselves, they determine that's an attitude. And I'm talking about defense. Not like, a black person defends themselves. Same with the Carmelo Anthony thing. The black person defends themselves. People start acting like there's a reason that you shouldn't have defended yourself. That makes no sense, but only when it comes to us. So it makes sense for nobody to have been touched, but Daniel Penny walked behind somebody and choke him out. That makes more sense than Carmelo Anthony being at a track meet and someone telling him, number one, telling him to move when it wasn't their job to. And number three, they wasn't in no position to even do so. And so, things went wrong. But people should have kept their hands to themselves. And even still, people are like, well, that's not enough reason. No, you don't have the right to put your hands on me at all. Number one. Number two, you don't have the right to tell me what to do. So that's something that, people have to understand and play that out for themselves. But I wanted to come in and chop in with this because it seems to me that now that you're seeing Shador Sanders is clearly, at very least, the second best quarterback in that draft. He should have never fallen to where he did. Should have been taken sooner. And everybody else that actually let him fall that way, y'all need to take y'all lumps and suffer from his success and greatness. Because at the end of the day, that's what they're going to have to eat. And that young man, nor his brother Shiloh, are arrogant, attitude-having. Every time you see them, they present themselves with respect, honor, and a certain demeanor that is to really represent their name and that Sanders legacy. So, they talk, well, why are you so famous? You know why he's famous, but you tell me. And so that's another thing that they hated that dude for. So just be mindful now. that you see all of these people coming out the woodwork, a lot of stories are going to start changing. A lot of tones are going to start changing. Because Shedeur Sanders is probably going to start lighting things up. And you got Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, who's the quarterback, and they're talking about, we don't know what we're going to do. I'm seeing a lot of people in this league go out of their way to try to backtrack what they've done against Shedeur Sanders and the reasoning, because now all he has to do is play well and expose their anti-black bias. And see, when we talk about generational, isn't a legacy generational? And what is the NFL trying to do to that black man, Deion Sanders' legacy? Trying to tarnish him by targeting his sons, and they're still impressing the people. Let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. I just wanted to get my 2 cents in. Because with that being said, y'all, stay black, stay vigilant, stay alive. Black first, black first, black first. Shalom, y'all. Peace.